Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian here at the Association of the United States Army's annual conference and trade show here in Washington, D.C., the #1 gathering of U.S. Army leaders from around the world to discuss the service's future, its strategy, budgets, technology, programs, and more. Our coverage here is sponsored by Bell, a Textron company, Elbit Systems of America, L3 Technologies, Leonardo DRS, and Safran. And we're over here at Oshkosh Defense to talk to the president of the business, John Bryant, proud United States, former retired United States Marine Colonel and Acquisition Officer par excellence. John, it's always a pleasure seeing you.
Great to see you, Vago.
So you guys, congratulations on the win, and wanted to talk to you a little bit about what that means, and just talk to us a little bit about the things that you're highlighting here. I mean, it's an Army that's in great power competition again, so it's a change in mindset. You guys do build vehicles, both for the current fight, but also looking ahead at the future. Talk to us a little bit about some of the highs from this week.
Sure, Vago. Here we're highlighting two of our new programs in Oshkosh Defense. Behind you, you see the Joint Light Tactical Vehicle. And as you discussed, right now, our military customer needs a very flexible vehicle, a vehicle that brings survivability, extreme off-road mobility, as well as that transportability and overall flexibility. Joint Light Tactical Vehicle brings that to the table. The Joint Light Tactical Vehicle has recently completed operational testing, and we're approaching a full rate production decision in December. So right now what we're focused on is continuing to ramp up production while at the same time putting together our total package fielding process so that those first units have a great fielding experience when they receive JLTV.
And talk to us about the progress you're making on the trucks and other parts of the portfolio, because you guys have quite a wide amount of, you're still making M-ATVs, you're still producing, obviously, trucks for the Army as well.
Sure. Over here you see our family of medium tactical vehicles, A2. That was a competitive win last spring. That vehicle takes the Army's medium workhorse and greatly improves protection, it greatly improves payload, as well as mobility and ride quality. This is our unveiling of the FMTV A2. What you'll see with that vehicle is you'll see a vehicle that takes the ability to carry heavy loads across severe cross-country terrain and do it at speeds that actually rival the Joint Light Tactical Vehicle. And it'll do that while also tremendously increasing survivability for the occupants. It's a great program.
And how many units is that going to be, roughly?
What we see in the FIDIP right now is somewhere between 1,200 and 1,300, but our contract goes well beyond the FIDIP. So I think in the FIDIP right now you see a little less than $500 million, somewhere around 480 million. Again, our contract extends well beyond that FIDIP.
Right. Well, still great business, great business to have, and obviously a growth part of the market. As the president of an important business and one of the Army's key suppliers, as you're looking, what were some of the key messages you were listening to today from leadership, whether it was about the Futures Command or anything else in terms of broad strategy or even some budgetary? The Secretary tried to be clear that he's going to try to free up money for acquisition, for example.
Sure, we've been listening very closely and watching to see the evolution of Futures Command. I spent a little bit of time with General Murray and talked about some of the challenges that a commander is faced with in standing up such a robust capability on a really constrained timeline. We've been watching that to see how it might change the way the Army does defense acquisition. I think it's actually a pretty exciting time when you look at the challenge he's faced with and trying to bring some unity of command to acquisition, when he's trying to bring together requirements and material development and combine that with the funding piece. It's a pretty exciting time. The other thing we're looking at is the Army's big 6 priorities, and of course from an Oshkosh perspective, we always worry about long-term funding and stability of the overall defense budget. So we take a look at, we're looking at how many programs are competing for a relatively stable number of dollars.
But you're an acquisition professional, you were an instructor at Defense Acquisition University. Do you see any pitfalls to this approach? Because there are some folks who say that, look, it's great to put expert warriors and have them involved in shaping what a system should be and being sort of more disciplined about that process. On the other hand, there's a concern that, well, you don't have as many expert acquisition officers that are directly in that pipeline, and that it's somewhat more of an ad hoc relationship. What do you see as both the opportunities here, but what do you see as potential challenges that folks have got to be focused on as somebody who's been in this game for a long time or you were in a reputation as being pretty good at it in your day?
Thank you. Well, my experience has been the more warfighter involvement we could get in any program, the better that program would turn out. And I think what you see General Murray is going to be doing with Futures Command, I don't speak for General Murray, but I think what you'll see is he's combining the expertise of the warfighters with the expertise of the material developers. Normally, if you can bring them together, you can get that direct voice of the requirements generator with the realistic technical capabilities of the material developer. You can create programs that are actually set up where technology, time available, and resources match requirements, and those are the keys to success.
Well, actually, we saw that in demonstrated. We had General Bassett, who's the PEO for C3T for the Army, along with General Gallagher, who is the cross-functional team lead for networks.
Right.
And it was, they were talking about just this intimate partnership between, somebody who's got all the operational credentials to know, hey, this is what a battle network ought to be, with a professional acquisition officer who knows, hey, how to make these trades. And they sit right next to each other in Aberdeen, working together every day. And so it was really encouraging to sort of see these two guys sort of being like, as soon as an idea pops up, we're running it by the acquisition guy to find out, look, what's the art of the possible here? And it was great for the first time hearing a requirements officer being like, we're not going for the 400% solution here. Even if something is a little bit good enough, it's good enough.
Think of the opportunities that presents. It allows a program to start much faster, and it allows it to start without spending a couple of years generating a requirement that might not be realistically achievable with technology and funding. It brings all that together and saves so much time and allows a program to be postured for success when it begins.
Let me ask you about the industrial base report. You're a company with hundreds, if not thousands of suppliers, tens of thousands of parts that go into all of your products. You guys are a commercial giant of the first order. Okay. Are we having a technical difficulty?
Yeah, you're good though.
Yeah, that high frequency gear slipping sound was no bueno.
It wasn't good.
No, exactly.
Okay, good to go.
I want to talk a little bit about an industrial base. The White House last week released its industrial base survey looking at potential failure points in the national security industrial base. You guys are a very key commercial supplier, but a very, very important defense supplier. As the president of an important business that's got hundreds of supplier companies and tens of thousands of parts in the inventory, what does that report mean to you? Are you guys going to have to make some more investment to protect? Do you have points of failure in your supply chain that you guys are now going to have to make some investment to protect?
Our sensitive points usually refer to smaller businesses and that are involved in smaller volumes. So as we execute our programs, what our entire supply chain thrives on is predictability. One of the good things about being a defense OEM is that I can see the fit up, I can see how our programs are funded over time, our suppliers can see that. Where it gets a little risky for our suppliers is if you see variability year to year in the quantities being asked for in the various platforms. So where our supply base as a whole is quite healthy, if funding were to drop for a year or two in a particular program, sometimes you lose those smaller suppliers, and then even some of the larger suppliers, during periods of a healthy economy like this, you stand the risk that they might just move away from defense business altogether, and that could drive redesigns inside a system. So the short story for us is what our supply base thrives on is predictability.
That's right, and everybody's hoping that there's going to be a little bit of budget stability going forward. All right. Anybody who knows you knows you're a very proud Red Sox fan. I'm a proud Yankee fan. You guys played awesome baseball over the last couple of days. How does that feel, and how do you guys think? How do you think this is going to end up? Do you think Boston's going to do it again? I'm having nightmares about 2005 right about now.
It feels pretty good, but I have to tell you, the Yanks were looking so strong right up there into the ninth inning. I went back to when I was in college, and I had images of Bucky Dent dancing in my head. So with two such phenomenal teams, we Red Sox fans feel pretty fortunate that we got out of that one, I think.
And you feel pretty good? You think you guys can get another win another World Series?
I think they have the horses, but at this level, you know how it is, Vago. All the teams are so good. Everybody that's left, and look at the Milwaukee Brewers right now.
Absolutely.
Just playing fantastic baseball.
And just don't jinx it.
But for the Red Sox, once we beat the Yankees, everything else is gravy.
That's right. It's already a winning season. John Bryant, president of Oshkosh Defense. Sir, it's always an honor, always a pleasure talking to you, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks so much, Vago.